Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Spanish lesson. Today, we're going to talk all about the location of things.
That's right. Today, you're going to master how to say things like on top of, or below, or next to, or between. And although that might seem easy, a lot of Spanish students have trouble with this because many times there's more than one word we can use for a specific place. Sometimes we need a preposition de, and sometimes we don't. So today, we're going to explain everything you need to know. We're going to group specific words together, and we'll use images so that you can more easily visualize them.
All our examples in this lesson will use estar because we're referring to the location of things.
For example, the backpack is on the table.
La mochila está sobre la mesa.
And we'll follow this pattern throughout this lesson. But we want to make you aware that you don't have to use estar. We can use the verb haber when we talk about the existence of something, like there is a backpack on the table.
Hay una mochila sobre la mesa.
And other verbs as well when we refer to where an action happened. For example, I left my backpack on the table.
Dejé mi mochila sobre la mesa.
So just be aware of that. But in this lesson, we're just going to talk about where things are. And for that reason, we'll just use estar. Okay? Number one, if we want to express that something is above, up, or on top of something, we can use the words sobre or encima de. For example, let's go back to our first example. The backpack is on the table.
La mochila está sobre la mesa. Or la mochila está encima de la mesa. But it's also common to simply hear la mochila está en la mesa.
And I know this may seem weird because as an English speaker, I would translate this to the backpack is in the table, but we have to understand that many Spanish prepositions don't have one singular meaning. Instead, they have different translations according to the context in which they're used. So we have to understand that sometimes en can be in, sometimes it's at, sometimes it's on, sometimes it's by. So just be aware of that. Now, to express being underneath or below an object, we can use debajo de or bajo. For example, the backpack is below the table.
La mochila está bajo la mesa or la mochila está debajo de la mesa.
As you can see, for encima and debajo, we need the de when it's followed by the thing it's on top or below of, but we don't put de when we don't have an object afterwards. For example, ¿La mochila está debajo de la mesa?
No, está encima.
Or ¿La mochila está encima de la mesa?
No, está debajo.
So this will be true for all the rest of our words in this lesson. If it's followed by the object, we need a de, so we have to remember this rule.
Number two, we can express if something is inside of something else by using dentro de.
For example, the pink dress is inside the wardrobe.
El vestido rosa está dentro del armario.
Now, remember, when we have the word de followed by the article el, we need to combine them, and that's why it becomes del armario.
And we can use fuera de when we want to express that something is outside of an object.
For example, now the pink dress is outside of the wardrobe.
Ahora, el vestido rosa está fuera del armario.
Now, we see that when you use outside of or inside of something, we're specifying a place. That's why we're using dentro de or fuera de. But if we want to say outside or inside without a reference point, we're going to use afuera for outside and adentro for inside. For example, ¿El vestido está dentro del armario?
No, está afuera.
Number three, we can express that something is close to something else by using cerca de. For example, the dentist is close to his patient.
El dentista está cerca de su paciente.
And we use lejos to express that something is far away, like the dentist is far from his patient.
El dentista está lejos de su paciente.
And our same rule applies here. When we don't specify a specific reference point, we don't need to use de. For example, ¿El dentista está cerca del paciente?
No, está lejos.
¿El dentista está lejos del paciente?
No, está cerca. Number 4. To express if something is up or above, we can use arriba.
Now, this is the part where I used to always be really confused because we just went over that to say up or on top of something, we use encima de or sobre. So why can now all of a sudden we can use arriba?
Basically, we want to use arriba when something is in a higher position, but not necessarily touching the surface.
Okay, so encima de and sobre are used when an object is resting directly on something, like we saw in the example with the backpack on the table. And arriba de can actually be used in the exact same way, but it can also be used whenever we refer to something being up or in a higher position, or being above something when there's space between two objects. For example, the lamp is above the bed.
La lámpara está arriba de la cama.
And arriba, without the de, has another meaning, which can simply just mean up, like look up.
Mira arriba.
Or the kids are playing upstairs.
Los niños están jugando arriba.
So remember, don't translate literally. Arriba just means up in a higher position. There's not really a word for upstairs, you just use arriba. And abajo de expresses the opposite of arriba, being down or below something, like the backpack is below the table.
La mochila está abajo de la mesa.
But just like arriba can express up, abajo can express simply down, like he looked down at the ground.
Él miró abajo, al suelo.
Or the cat ran downstairs.
El gato corrió abajo. Number 5. When we want to express something is in front of or opposite something, we can use enfrente de or delante de. But they're not quite the same, so we need to be careful here.
Yeah, when something is in front of something else, but not facing each other, we can use delante de. For example, Luis is in front of Tanya.
Luis está delante de Tania.
But in this case here, where Luis and Tanya are opposite each other, they're facing each other, we want to use enfrente de.
Luis está enfrente de Tania, and also Tania está enfrente de Luis.
So the way that I try to think about this between delante de and enfrente de is it doesn't matter whether they're people facing each other or the front of buildings facing each other, because your forehead is your frente. When two things are facing each other, you're going to use enfrente de. And if not, you'll use delante de. Now, when we see this example here, we could technically use either or, but it all depends on the context of the speaker. So for example, the bus stop is in front of the hotel.
La parada de autobús está delante del hotel. Or la parada de autobús está enfrente del hotel.
But when the two objects are opposite each other, like in this case, they're across the street facing each other, we need to use enfrente de.
La parada de autobús está enfrente del hotel.
And we can express that something is behind something by using detras de. So the hotel is behind the bus stop.
El hotel está detrás de la parada de autobús.
Side note, don't get detras de confused with atrás. Atrás can also mean behind something, but we can also use it to mean back when we're talking about movement of something. Like, for example, I don't like the couch there. Can we move it back a little further?
No me gusta el sofá ahí. ¿Podríamos moverlo un poco más atrás? Okay, now we have to take a quick second to thank our supporters and members. Thanks to Brad Bates and MJ Pleas for becoming YouTube members. Your support helps us create lessons like this to improve your Spanish. Gracias, primos.
Yeah, now if you'd like to become a member, we have a bunch of links in the description of this video for YouTube memberships, for Patreon memberships, and for Buy Me a Coffee. So it's really easy to sign up or donate to the channel to receive exclusive benefits. In Patreon, we do 2 mini lessons a month, and we have audio lessons from Darcy to help you improve your Spanish. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you still haven't, and share this video so that our lessons can reach more and more Spanish students. Again, thank you so much.
Number 6. If we want to express that something is around another object, we can use alrededor de.
Right. For example, there are trees around the house.
Hay árboles alrededor de la casa.
The kids are around the Christmas tree.
Los niños están alrededor de el árbol de Navidad.
The family is sitting around the campfire.
La familia está sentada alrededor de la fogata.
So while alrededor de means around, we can use rodeado when we want to say surrounded by. For example, the Christmas tree is surrounded by kids.
El árbol de Navidad está rodeado por niños.
Okay, number 7. When we want to express between things, we use the word entre. For example, the treasure is hidden between the rocks.
El tesoro está escondido entre las rocas.
And although it doesn't necessarily mean between, but we can use en medio de to mean among or in the middle of something. For example, the treasure is hidden among the rocks.
El tesoro está escondido en medio de las rocas.
The treasure is hidden in the middle of the rocks.
El tesoro está escondido en medio de las rocas. Number 8. Lastly, we express being beside or next to something by using al lado de or junto a. For example,
the dog is right next to the fireplace.
El perro está al lado de la chimenea. Or el perro está junto a la chimenea.
The shoes are next to the front door.
Los zapatos están al lado de la puerta de la entrada. Or los zapatos están junto a la puerta de la entrada.
And that's it. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more lessons like this.
Now watch this video to keep improving your Spanish.
Until next time.